spin the wheel of magical intro.
Yeah, that's right on too.
Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody.
Jesus, I legit felt like I was in a damn movie theater.
I know. It got me very excited for this upcoming weekend to go and see Guardians.
We actually haven't heard that that intro in a while.
In a minute.
February, yeah.
And at one point, we were hearing it every other fucking week, and so
yes, that's true. It's true.
Yeah,
or some variation on a theme. Happy everybody is joining us for another marvelous Monday edition of Films in Black and White. Thank you to those who are tuning into the live stream. Remember, you can tune into the live stream wherever you find us on our social media pages. That's where we will be. And we also have a very special bonus episode for our Patty family immediately following this. You got the deets. Head there, check that out. It will post later for the rest of y'all. But in order to do this right, and in order to do it well, I got to make sure everybody's thoroughly welcomed and included and brought into this space. And I'm going to kick it on down to a one, Marcus J. Destin, a.k.a. a Marcus Mighty Morphin Destin. Marcus, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know what I mean? We're here. I'm on a lot of bullshit today. I just want to let you know from the rip, any type of production, any type of order. I'm feeling real monkey wrenchish today. No black pun intended or racial slur intended, but
didn't even go there. But
yeah. I just had to
thanks for the clarification.
Got to nip it in the bud. But yeah, I'm feeling a lot of bullshit today. The name is Mighty Morphin because I was looking for a way to stream Power Ranger episodes.
Okay.
The last time we talked about this, I think it was on Amazon Prime, but went on TikTok and the algorithm heard me. And there's a guy who has uploaded every single episode of every Power Ranger on YouTube for free.
Oh my goodness. That's incredible.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, I'm currently watching Power Ranger Zeo right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be able to dive down that rabbit hole? That's like an itch that you just were able to scratch. How's that feel?
You know, it's a very specific itch. And to be honest, after watching Once and Always, like Once a Ranger, Always a Ranger on Netflix, I went back to watch it. And there was a lot more depth to these Power Ranger episodes. Like it's very formulaic, right? But there was they tried to add a little science in there when Billy was in the with Zordon and he couldn't be on the team, but he was the scientist behind the scenes and shit. They gave Tommy a whole arc where he got broken up with by Kimberly in the letter.
Yeah, in the original, right?
In Zeo.
She was in Zeo?
No, she wasn't in Zeo. So she left at the end of Mighty Morphin because they were supposed to go to school or she was going to college.
Yeah. Okay.
At the top of Zeo and maybe 4 episodes in, she's nowhere to be heard. But apparently they're doing the long distance thing, and she writes him a letter saying, "I found the love of my life. Also, you're always like a brother to me, and I'll always love you." And I was like, "That's
got a John Deere letter, huh?"
Yeah. It was pretty fucked up, but
oh man,
shout out to Tommy.
I mean, no, they the one thing I'll give Power Rangers is that it's nuts. Like, I just get that out of the way right away. It's nuts, but I do appreciate that they do try to have some semblance of continuity, or they don't totally drop things of well, we can't, you know why we can't do that, Zach. Right. And Zach's like, you're right. It's because of the Z waves. I'm like, excuse me? And they're like, that's right. We also can't duplicate Power Ranger coins. And and there's a whole episode about how you can't have two, same color Ranger coins or the same team coins, but you can have, if there's different team, it's impressive because, as a Star Wars fan, George Lucas didn't give a crap about half of it. And then here's this children's Saturday morning show that's no. Don't stop it.
I feel like that is from things that were inspired from like
the Japanese version.
Japanese.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Pokemon does the same shit where it's like, why can't Charizard do that? Well, if you see the sun is not in the upmost position and therefore he can't draw the rays, and you're like,
exactly it.
Fuck are you? It's a giant
That's exactly it.
Calm down. So yeah, it's Japanese stuff. I feel
no, it's right, and it's so. My last thing about Power Rangers is like, it's so interesting because that continuity you're talking about, even as they're transitioning Rangers previously, like when they were Zeo, then Zeo went to Turbo with the same set for Mighty Morphin, but then there was a certain point where when they went Turbo Rangers and then they started transitioning, they split halfway in the season to find new Rangers to hand their powers over to. So like,
that's right.
Tommy found a new Red Ranger. That was the first Black Ranger, the first Black person to be the Red Ranger. Like they transitioned, and then from Turbo to In Space, it was the same set, but a new set of Power Rangers. Then they went to space. Like they are very consistent.
Yeah.
Sorry to ruin your whole 5 minutes.
No. I'm glad you said that.
Power Rangers, but yeah,
that shit. We love that.
It's really interesting.
Marcus, you are also entering into finals week, so you made it. How's it feel to sort of be on the other side of it?
We're not done yet.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Graduation is this weekend, so ask me again next Monday.
I will absolutely be doing that. I want you to be ready for
that.
But we also need to include Brian, Jedi Survivor Roush. Brian, hello. How are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling great. Just finished up a project at work and I got like positive feedback. And I don't know about other adults, but I feel like as an adult, you do not get a ton of positive feedback. Like a lot of people are like, oh, you did this thing? Great. Moving on. But like I actually had people be like, hey, good
now
job,
do
man.
These 3 things.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But anyway, so I was like vibrating from some positive feedback I got earlier today from a good project. And then for those of you joining our live stream, my tagline is Jedi Survivor because I am playing Jedi Survivor and I'm loving it. And I played it with every free hour I had this weekend, most free hours I had this weekend. And man, it feels good to be back. It's just such a fun game. I love it. I'm just going around whacking things with my lightsaber, petting weird little creature animals on planets I can't pronounce. And it's also, the last thing I'll say here is this game is just like, it knows exactly what Star Wars fans want. And I can I can customize my lightsaber. Like I can adjust the degree of which I have like how the lightsaber shaft comes out and the crossguard. I can adjust the angle of how I want that crossguard to be in relation to the main saber. So like, anyway, I'll spend probably a few hours on that, but so just having a great time here.
Brian, how do you play you like Star Wars or your games? Are you the type to beat the main story, don't do any side quests, don't collect any or do you do the whole thing 100%?
So important caveat, before I had kids, I would 100% it, no problem. I 100%ed all of the Batman the main trilogy of Batman Arkham games.
You just had to. It was irresponsible not to.
Those are like incredible games. I could do an entire 15-minute unprompted presentation about how good those games are.
Yeah, they're great.
Bonus.
In my life now, though, the deal I made with myself, because I would like get into this rabbit hole of like, I've been playing this game for 6 months and I have so many other games to play. So I'll do the side content as I go along. But once I hit like the end of the main story, I'm good. I'm done. I'm not going to go ticky tack, go back and do stuff like, no, I'm going to do it when I'm doing it. And then once I hit the end, I'm done. The other reason is because I forget like the controls almost immediately too. So like if I save it for later and like wait a week.
Yeah. And these games are hard. So like you can't forget the controllers settings for this.
I have had to resign myself like, Brian, you can't play it on hard. Like you don't have 60 hours. You don't have 60 hours. You got to play it on normal and it's going to be fine and you're going to have fun. That's what I did for Marvel Midnight Suns. And I'm glad I did because I put 100. I put not 100, close to like 60 hours into that game on normal. Oh my God. And I was like, wow, if I did this on hard, I'd still be playing this. So that was a good decision.
Yeah.
And so Batman was the very first game I thought of, those Riddler side missions. And it mattered because the ending, like you didn't get the full ending if you didn't do 100%.
Oh my gosh. And I remember Arkham City, you get the Hush ending.
Yes.
And you're just like, like your mind is blown, and then that's in the background of Arkham Knight, which superb games.
Yeah,
Superb
I
games.
cheated. I watched the YouTube videos.
Which is fine.
Honestly, though, if you don't,
level of enjoyment.
Some people don't have 80 hours to put into a video game.
No.
I'm psyched out. I'm weird. Like I love doing that, but I get it. Not everybody wants to do that.
No, and nobody. And not everybody has that kind of time. So that's very, very, very true. So
Douglas,
yeah, where are you at, Doug?
I'm broken.
The shrub master.
Because we impromptu decided to rip shrubs out of our front yard garden bed this weekend.
Folks, he's a rogue.
And it was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be.
God.
And so, okay, y'all, you need to understand that there's a little bit ever since I started doing CrossFit, there has been, those like small changes that people are like, oh, it's the changes you don't notice. And you're like, yeah, you're right. Those pants do fit better. There is one other small change that has happened is that when something gets hard, I celebrate. What? And I celebrate quite publicly. And so on Sunday,
is there a pill for that?
There's not. I tried like pulling this stump out of the ground. And I'm like just ripping it. And I finally get it out of the ground and I put it up over my head and I throw it across the yard. And I'm like, wow, like strutting across because it was a lot of work. And I whipped around and I gave a finger to the hole in the ground. I was like, yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin style.
And then I walk inside. She goes, and Brittany goes, you're a little dramatic. And I need you to understand that. And I was like, I know, but it was hard. She's like, well, I'm pretty sure the whole like neighborhood heard you. Yeah. What I did not understand is because I had headphones in and was listening to music. So I was pulling. Apparently, I was like grunting, trying to like. I was like trying to pull this thing out of the ground. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, everybody did then watch me grunt, then celebrate, and then struggle. Right. I needed smelling salts before I was like gonna go and pull the thing out of the ground. But other than that, I'm good.
Your body's okay. Your body's okay.
Got that all done. The yard looks very nice. It's weird, but it looks very nice. And so yeah, okay. It is what it is.
A little dramatic. A little.
It's a little. It's fine. We're gonna do this now, Roman. We're only 12 minutes in.
We Roman Myers for being a Patreon subscriber to Films in Black and White.
Signing up for weekly ridicule. But no, in all seriousness, it was a good. I also had this moment in the car. You ever have these moments? I feel like I'm doing stand-up, but do you ever have these moments where you read something that's not dirty and your mind immediately goes to being dirty?
All the time.
I just did it 5 minutes ago when you told that story.
I drove by a church today and there was a sign on the church that said receive my spirit, and I laughed my ass off for probably a block and a half, and I was like, and then I had to stop and I was like, really, Doug, a church? No,
that makes it funnier. No, it
that's does. What made it so funny to me, because then when it's about the inflection. Like if you say like receive my spirit, like that's a very like sermonious type of thing, but if you like receive my spirit, like it's very
that got really sensual.
I almost took my headphones off.
It got gross. So I realized that about myself, which is always nice. So yeah, doing great,
phenomenal.
Gentlemen, we are going to play our weekly game of Catch That Quotable.
Let's do it.
Catch that quotable.
Silky sounds of Marcus J. Here's what we got. Are you all ready? We got one coming in hot from the Patreon. Are you all ready for this week's quote?
Ready, Freddie.
Yes. All right. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I quit. Ha! I resigned. Are you getting this completely in your ear? I am profoundly out of here. And this ain't about money. I ain't even complaining about my dry cleaning bill, but hang around with elephants all day and try to keep your clothes clean.
Can you read it?
I'm not quitting the Patreon, by the way. It's just the way it was delivered. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I quit. Ha! I resign. Are you getting this completely in your ear? I am profoundly out of here. And this ain't about the money. I ain't even complaining about my dry cleaning bill, but hang around with elephants all day and try to keep your clothes clean.
It's interesting. Hang around with elephants all day.
So there are two movies for me that this goes to.
Okay.
The first is the modern remake of Dumbo.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
I also did not, but I could see them trying to punch it up a little bit.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
can see that, yeah.
Because Dumbo's depressing. I could see them. They made this much more about the circus, and Danny DeVito is in it, so I could see them like trying to punch it up.
I did not even touch that movie. Okay, what's your second movie?
Operation Dumbo Drop, which
I was also thinking about Dumbo Drop.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I was thinking Dr. Dolittle somehow, some way, but maybe the newer version of Robert Downey Jr., like with Robert Downey Jr.
Man, did anybody see that?
I did not see that one either. So I'm guessing movies we have.
We're all guessing movies we haven't seen.
We have not seen. Huh. I was also thinking, what's the one? It's not Paul Blart, but he's like, it's David. It's not David Spade. What's his name?
Are you the Watch? Maybe
he's a zoo. He's in the zoo. And it's not David Spade. Actually, it's my guy from King and Queens.
Kevin James.
Kevin James. Yeah, Kevin James, and he was a zookeeper, and I think the animals could talk in there. But I can't.
I feel like you're right, and I feel like it's called like the Keeper or something like that.
Hang on. Just is the elephants a metaphor? Are we thinking are they actual real literal elephants?
Actual elephants?
I feel like they're real actual elephants.
Could be an animation though.
Oh man,
it could be. I'm gonna lock in Operation Dumbo Drop.
I'll go Dr. Dolittle.
Okay.
I'm good. I'll go Dumbo, I guess. Dumbo.
Right. Okay.
Why not?
Spread the gambit. Spread the motherfucking gambit.
We're just.
Oh, look at us. We were all wrong.
Amazing.
Gave me hope.
This is from the 1993 British animated adventure comedy called We're Back, a dinosaur's story.
I've never heard of it.
I have seen this movie several times.
Have you really?
Yes. It was about dinosaurs. I was a dinosaur kid growing up. I watched this movie all the time.
Oh, I was a trained kid. So
yep. Everybody got their thing. It's out there. It's a little weird.
I do know this movie. Yep, I do know this.
What? I'm sorry. Can we get the title again?
Called We're Back, a dinosaur's story.
I absolutely know that. I remember the animation very vividly.
So if I can give you the theme of this particular movie.
Jay Leno's in this movie. Anyway, continue, please.
So this movie is essentially some magical being, maybe an allegory for God, we don't know.
Wow.
Snatches, like basically is all about going around the world and granting children their wishes. So he's a big, he's a good magic type dude. And then on the other end of it, so he basically pulls these dinosaurs out of the Cretaceous and says, hey, the number one wish I get is for kids to be able to see real dinosaurs. Yeah. And so he makes them friendly and he puts them in New York. He's like, you're going to make everybody's dream come true. Well, the dinosaurs fall in love with what I can only describe as a street rat style kid. You know, the kid, parents work a lot.
Always.
They were present in 90s animation all over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And anyway, the street rat kids want to go and run away and join the circus because they're not happy at home. Well, the dinosaurs love them, so they go with them. Well, the circus is run by evil magic guy that's all about fear. So it's fear versus dreams, and that's basically the synopsis.
John Goodman, Renee Levant, Joey Shea, Jay Leno, Martin Short, Rhea Perlman, Charles Fisher,
Walter Cronkite.
And that's very interesting. I remember the animation. I did not remember the plot. So that's interesting.
It's 71 minutes. So if you need a way to kill an hour and 10 minutes on an afternoon with your kids, Brian, or Marcus, if you need a way to kill an hour and 10 minutes,
was that about the same time as the Brave Little Toaster? Because I feel like that's the same similar.
It was right around that time frame. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I love anything that's not Disney animation because it's they have to work harder to break through all the noise. So I mean, it makes sense. I haven't heard of it. This voice cast though is I've never really seen anything like this. Julia Child is a voice in this, prolific. Wow.
Yeah.
chef extraordinaire. Okay, this is man.
She you know who she plays? She plays the curator of the science museum. That's like, I'm jacked to have real dinosaurs show up.
Sure. This feels like it came out with like Fievel Goes West.
Yes.
Fern Gully. It was that era of animation.
It was an Amblin Entertainment. So this movie is billed as Steven Spielberg Presents.
Yep. So that makes sense.
It was one of those.
It is rated G.
So Pre-DreamWorks.
It was indeed.
Cool.
So yeah, there you go. That's We're Back. Good pull. That
is a good pull.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Well, this week on Films in Black and White, we are doing a news roundup. And so I am going to kick it on over to Brian Roush to give us his first piece of news. Brian, what you got?
Hey, everybody. So my piece of news, and I feel like this is a good point before I get into this to contextualize it. We're doing news a different way than we've done it in the past. So if you tuned in for our last news episode, we changed the format. We're going to continue with that format. So we're all just picking a piece of news that like really resonates with us and then talking about that. So essentially, my piece comes from Deadline, and they they talked with Dexter Fletcher, who is the director for Ghosted on Apple. I watched it. We didn't watch it for the pod. We didn't review it or anything. I enjoyed the movie. And one of the things with it, though, was that in the interview, they talked about how essentially Fletcher wanted to make this really long, I'm going to paraphrase this, we'll link this in the episode description, but basically they wanted to do an homage to a Goldie Hawn film, Foul Play, in which there's this long drive through the mountains and there's this conversation, and he was trying to recreate that with Ana de Armas. And essentially when he showed Apple this cut of the movie, he goes, I think it's great. It's a 3-minute opening sequence. And then, quote, he says, they said you can't do it because if the opening sequence goes on and something doesn't happen in the first 30 seconds, we know from our data that people will just turn it off. And so that's the end quote. And he goes, I didn't want that, so I changed my movie. I bring this up as a piece of news because we have championed here a long time for releasing movies both on streaming and in theaters, and just like also just going direct to streaming. And this made me pause because it's like, man,
Brian had an epiphany.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to totally 180 my opinion here, but it's kind of depressing that you have this filmmaker, this creative mind who's like, hey, I have this idea. And then you have all these suits coming. They're like, okay, so like, real talk, the data, you got to have something explode in 30 seconds or no one's going to watch your movie. And I just feel like for streaming audiences, like that can't be the case for everybody. Obviously, it's what the data shows them. And I do worry that when we have films and they're made for streaming, they're going to be made for all of these metrics in mind. And I feel like we have this potential to be like, oh, that's a streaming movie. It's totally made to like keep you watching regardless of the quality of it, right? Like you'll have the tropes, but is it good? Now for Ghosted, I enjoyed that movie on its own as a genuine film. I liked it. They reversed the roles of like the spy and the damsel in distress. Chris Evans plays a great damsel in distress. Ana de Armas plays a great spy. And that's where I'll stop talking for now. So that was the piece of news I wanted to bring here today.
Yeah. I mean, this feels very like $6 Million Man, right? Like we can do this. Yeah. We have the technology, and it's like, hold on. Yeah. You've been so busy wondering whether or not you could. You never stop to ask if you should. Like you don't need to build a movie with data in mind. Like you can just make something fun. So yeah, I get that, Brian.
I feel like we're on the cusp of AI just writing the scripts at this point.
Very close.
Because it's taken away from the creativity of finding something. Like there is still joy in finding something new. It may not appeal to the masses, but what about the ones that like those movies that slip through the crack? It finds a niche audience. That niche audience then ups it on TikTok and socials and tells everybody. Right. Then the people who thought they weren't interested go back and find this really good movie. Then everybody catches it more so on the back end and not the premiere. Right. Like we take away those moments to enjoy cinema. So that's the scary part.
And I feel like the other side of it is, I mean, like that's what happened with like Wendell and Wild. Like, remember that? Like, it came out on Netflix. It was a sort of like a Coraline style animation. And we talked a little bit about it, but then like I watched it and I was like, oh, this is weird. Like, I saw a lot of clips again on social, saw a lot of clips and went out and checked it out for myself. So I do feel like there's absolute some validity to that statement, Marcus.
Well, there's also the idea of like, okay, if you do have a scene that starts that way, the original opening, do what Jurassic Park did, do what everybody else did. You upload that first 5-minute sequence on social, so everybody sees it ahead of time, and they kind of get like this. You use it as your bait. And you let people already know, like, oh, I remember seeing this on socials. I'm interested to see what happens next. Like, build some type of, like, you rely so much on data. The data going to show you all types of shit. And then the data could also flip the next time another form of interest comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that, Marcus. I think that is such a good observation. And just, I think the other thing that's important here is like, I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think, like, we're still going to get movies just made for streaming platforms. I think one of the things that I realize is like, man, that's kind of the reason that some of these only made for streaming shows feel like just a little off. And I'm not saying all streaming shows. Some shows are absolute bangers on streaming services. And most times it's because like the creator or the visionary like creatives behind it had no interference. Sandman comes to mind, and that was on Netflix, and that's what we pick on. But like, there's a reason like a lot of people feel like Netflix streaming movies or Netflix original shows are a dime a dozen because they all have this weird algorithmic flavor to them of like, we gotta keep them hooked, the metrics keep saying if we don't do something in 5 minutes, they're not gonna come back. So yeah, anyway, there's like a doctoral thesis here that certainly I can't write.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wonder how that's going to affect movies in the streaming universe in the future.
Can I add another layer to this, Brian?
Please.
So some pieces of my news come directly from CinemaCon, which took place in Las Vegas this last week. And one of the things that they talked about was people who were exhibiting their movies and what they had coming up and their slate and their trailers and stuff like that talked about was streaming. And there have now been some changes, both at Amazon and Apple have decided to push some of their movies that were exclusively going to come out on their streaming platform first to a full theatrical release.
Of course.
And Netflix is included. So one of them is Martin Scorsese. He's in the news again. But Killers of the Flower Moon will go out to all theaters before it goes to Netflix.
Wow.
And so some of them are starting to change their direction a little bit. And several folks, David Zaslav and others, Paramount Pictures chair, Brian Robbins, they all said, we got to figure out this balance or otherwise we are all going to go broke because they're coming at it from the financial angle, but I think the creativity element will benefit from that financial push.
I think, is it possible? And I don't know, I'll play devil's advocate here for a little bit. Is it possible that the at-home streaming option to be here at home is oversaturated?
Yes.
Like, people feel like there is no experience at home. And because I can watch this whenever I want to, I then got to a point where I kept pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off, and I never got back to it. And because I never got back to it, I'm kind of losing my streaming because I got other shit I need to watch, or it's basketball season and now I'm locked into the playoffs and it's Super Bowl time and it's draft season and I just never got to those shows. Like, is it possible that we were overly comfortable and the field got overly saturated at home streaming wise?
I think very possible.
I think we have to talk about 2020 and COVID a little bit because everybody leaned into that in 2020. It was like, well, it has to be streaming, right? It has to be streaming for the foreseeable future. And I think that's exactly what happened, Marcus. I feel like it was this gold rush type thing of like, we got to get there first, or we got to get our thing out there. And we're at a point now where it's like, it is too much. It was already too much before, but it is too much now. And I'm guilty of this too. I've been meaning to watch All Quiet on the Western Front. on Netflix, which has won an Oscar, but I haven't got around to it because I'm like, it's on Netflix. I'll get to it whenever. I'm gonna watch Ghosted because it seems silly, or I'm gonna watch Scream 6 because I'm in the mood for a scary movie or whatever.
Yeah.
So I do think it's just this abundance of choice that is absolutely playing a factor into it.
Well, it's like Disney. Like Disney had to make the decision, right? Quality over quantity. We tried to bombard y'all asses with streaming and get you to sit down, but the reality is, do we have enough time as human beings to sit down and watch 15,000 shows?
I mean,
I think the other element of it is it's like not even. I mean, time is certainly a factor. I think it's decision fatigue. When we were 2020, when we were in 2020, we didn't need to make like some of those basic decisions. What route am I going to take to work? What am I going to have for lunch? Like those were taken away because they just weren't an element anymore. And now that we're back in the world, we have to make so many decisions every single day. And because we've lost out, there's this increased pressure to go out and do more and engage in things that were gone, because we kind of have this sense of sentimentality to it of like, well, that wasn't there. I want to make sure I take full advantage of everything I have. So by the time we sit down in front of our televisions to stream something, we're gone with decision fatigue, and there are so many choices. The actual like notion of making another one literally exhausts us to the point of, and even for myself, where I'll just watch It's Always Sunny again because I know I like it and I don't want to make a choice.
I was just about to say I'm rewatching Breaking Bad right now, and it's not a new show. It is a show. Like I have already watched it. Did me finishing some episodes of Better Call Saul play into it? Yes, it did. However, it's also the same thing of like, I'm going to watch all of Breaking Bad. I know what I'm watching for the next at least month and a half. I don't have to worry about it.
I watched Blade. I'm not even lying to you. I'm not even lying. I watched Blade 3 times last week because it was so easy to watch, and it's such a one, it's just a really well done movie.
It is very good,
start to finish, completely well done.
Yes, it is.
But it was something kind of, I guess, going into Power Rangers and kind of subliminally why I subconsciously why I don't like series probably is this idea of starting something new, and there's so much newness to start.
Yep.
I do think though you have to strike the balance, because you can't go all the way back to what it used to be, where tell me what I want to see by telling me it's the #1 movie in the box office and I'll go see it. Like there was excitement around that. It used to be a lot of excitement, like, oh, it's Friday, this movie has hit. It's kind of the same thing with music. I love music. I'm a big music guy. When new music drops on Friday, there's so much new shit. I don't know what I want to listen to. I will immediately go back to J. Cole or an album I already know.
You should see. I mean, that's all my Spotify is. I have hearts all over the fucking place on that, because again, like, I know what type of hip hop I like. So they're just going to keep giving me that, which is fine. And there's a moment where, like, right before I click on, no judgments, right before I listen to Kevin Gates for like the 80th time in my morning, I go, I should try something new. I don't know what I'd listen to.
Not now.
Not even a second choice. Like, not now. I'm this close to texting. I am this close to texting Brian and Marcus, be like, what are you guys listening to? Like, just to try to change it the fuck up.
You do know they have that feature on Spotify. Like, you can watch what your friends are listening to in real time.
I have not paid for Spotify for so much of my life. I'm like catching up. I'm like a baby bird out of the nest for the first time.
Worth the payment.
Honestly, we could do a whole episode about this. Spotify Premium is like the premium service that is like, this is how you do premium services.
If you had Apple, move the fuck on from Apple and just get Spotify Premium. Like, you get everything you need. You'll thank us. Yeah, it's everything in one, not Apple Podcasts and Apple Music and iTunes. Like, it's everything you need in one stop shop. If they start adding Spotify, hear me out. If you motherfuckers started adding music videos, like an actual full length music video, like tab for these new
Mhm.
songs that drop, and an artist can immediately drop a full-length music videos. You will keep people on your app. If fucking Drake drops a song tomorrow and drops a music video on Spotify exclusively, you at least have 2 to 3 minutes of a person in your app. Like,
and you
it
could
just makes the most sense.
Yeah. Buy Vimeo and do that. Like, just buy them out. Like, it's easy. Absorb them.
Honestly, I would be all about that. Like, have a tab where it's all video content, and I'm in there like swimwear.
I find all the songs I want. I make a playlist of music videos, and I just hit play, and they automatically scroll through, and you play it.
You know what? My mom would love that, by the way. She loved the VH1 countdown.
Yeah.
They took it away, and she's like, I don't understand. I'm like, well, it's because like YouTube and stuff. And for a while, I made her like the top 10 songs in a YouTube playlist, and I would send it to her. And like, to me, it was easy, but like for other folks who aren't as familiar, that's a foreign concept. But like having the top 10 videos, like,
or
you already have an AI DJ, you can just do it.
Or podcast. What if we were able to upload the full length video of our podcast to Spotify at the same time we put the audio on there?
Yeah.
They actually rolled that feature at.
Oh, did they?
With a competitor, with a competitor that we left. So that's that's Wizard of Oz behind the curtain stuff. So yeah,
fuck them.
Yeah.
To your point though about CinemaCon and like stuff, I think the other thing we need to talk about though is, and I won't stay on this long, but a lot of people, right? They're like, everything's a reboot or a remake or a reboot queel or whatever. And it's like, it is, because nobody has time to like, they're are willing to explore new stuff. So of course they're going to keep making Fast and Furious movies, because that's all you have time to make a decision for. Because if you open up the thing and it's like, I can watch Vin Diesel drive a car off of a building again, or I don't know, here's Margot Robbie, but she's like covered in flowers underwater. It's new. I don't know about that. I'm gonna watch Vin Diesel jump the car off the building. Like, that's
I didn't know that. I saw a tweet that was like, I think it's the same thing with Transformers. I think that you know, somebody was like, I will watch 10 Transformers movies because that shit is so simple. The plot is so simple. These motherfuckers transform.
Bare bones. Yeah.
What truck
They're
literally
does this look robots in disguise. Like, I want to see what they turn into.
You have humans run around and they look surprised or in awe, and then you just yell the money line, and then you're good. You're on your way. Yeah. By the way, Haley Steinfeld did it the best. Shia LaBeouf, we love you, but Haley Steinfeld, you did it the best.
That's true. So very true.
She also hit 1 billion streams on Spotify. I had no idea she was an artist.
Did she really?
I didn't know she was an artist either.
A billion or a million, but it was a lot. And I was like, God damn.
Well, look at her.
I believe she's in the billions club.
For her. Getting after it. Marcus, you...
Girl boss. I don't know. That was the energy you were giving me, Doug. I don't know.
Yeah. God damn.
Oh, nobody heard what I said.
Now I'm waiting for all those cliched taglines. Like, anyway. Marcus, your news for this week. What do you have for us?
Oh,
sir?
I can't wait.
Okay, so I am here as a movie podcaster, as a fan of movies, as a fan of comic books. And I think that Marcus, my middle name should have been Oversaturated Destin. Okay. Because oversaturation, to me, there is a line between oversaturation and annoyed, and I am annoyed. Okay. My piece of news is from Daniel RPK. There has been an abundance of like rumors surrounding the Fantastic Four casting. And sorry, I gotta write down this timestamp.
You're good.
There's an abundance of rumors around the casting of Fantastic Four. They had everything from Antonio Banderas, is being offered the role of Galactus, to this is the current casting of the Fantastic Four. So that's Go ahead. Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic. They said that he's been offered the role. Margot Robbie as Sue Storm. And then I'm not sure, his name is Paul Mescal?
Yeah, I don't know him.
He's in the Gladiator 2 role. Like, he'll be in Gladiator 2 as the lead role. I don't know what he's from, but apparently he's got a popular face that everybody likes. And then it was also rumored that Mila Kunis was supposed to be playing the Thing or Sue Storm. So here's what I'm here to say. Can we stop it with the bullshit rumors and leaks? can we at least have some decorum in our journalism, even if it is leaking,
I
to
agree.
not leak a bunch of bullshit?
I
because
agree.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between John Krasinski being fan casted and then somebody just lying and making up a bullshit rumor altogether.
Yeah.
Because if this is true, I like Margot Robbie. I like Adam Driver. I
do as well.
I don't know Paul, but he's got a Human Torch kind of face to him. And but like Mila Kunis as the Thing, in what world does that make sense?
Look, man, I don't want to tell anybody that you can't have a female version of the
That's
Thing.
not even that, and that ain't even what I'm saying.
But that's not even. I don't even want to touch that because it's just such a non-issue.
I'll touch it. This is what I'm saying. I'm a fan for the gender swap. Go ahead, gender swap the characters out. Race swap the character. If it makes
swap me, baby.
If it makes sense to the character.
Brian confused both of us.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? Stop me dead in my tracks. Okay, all right, Brian. All right. I see why Brian got 3 kids. He's very smooth. That was slick.
Wow.
Yeah, very slick.
You know, you're swapping it.
Go ahead, please.
Next thing you know, you're swapping it. Ugh. Okay. So it's not even about the gender swapping, right? I'm a fan of the gender swap, the race swap, if it makes sense to a story. Now, don't do that shit just to do it for the look, because that's called
pandering.
Pandering. It's exactly called. It's performative and pandering. Now, what I am saying is, let's at least have some common sense on casting and what rumors we decide to put out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
You gotta do some research at least, or at least don't you hear something and then you run with it, because the internet is too big now. It used to be, if you heard a rumor, like, it was because you heard it from somebody, because the internet was not just this open field of information. It was like you heard it from actual reporters or somebody who had an inside scoop.
Yeah.
Well, and I also feel like, I think the thing that's so weird to me about all the Fantastic Four stuff is that it feels like it's coming from 2 dudes. It feels like it's coming from Jeff Snyder, who is he's on the Hot Mic podcast a lot, I think. And then let's see here. I want to get this right. Daniel Richman.
Yeah, Daniel
Richman. Who
RPK.
does have scoops and stuff like that. But what's weird to me is, like, it's just these 2 guys. And I'm not saying that they're not reporting accurately. I just think it's weird. It's only coming from these 2 sources. And then to add a total monkey wrench into it, Mila Kunis on another interview, I think I cannot remember who it was with.
I have it right here, Brian.
Go ahead. What were the details there?
She was on the late show with James Corden. And Corden directly asked her and said, like, what's this? Like, are you playing Sue Storm? Like, rumors are you're going to be in the next Fantastic Four. And she literally was like, I am not in the Fantastic Four. Like, I'm not in it. And she said, apparently, if you go to lunch with somebody that is also in the industry, then you then start working together, according to the internet. We went out for deli and had lunch together. And now somehow I'm in the Fantastic Four. And then after that, she goes, but I know who is, and I don't want to get in trouble with Disney.
See,
so Shackman told her like everything. But yeah. There you go.
And I think that's the thing that, like, drives the monkey wrench into this is, like, clearly there is info out there. I don't know, though. I don't know. I'm taking a lot of it with a grain of salt. And, like, I think that the Mila Kunis stuff put me over the edge of, like, I don't think anybody knows what's going on. I don't think anybody. Here's the thing with Margot Robbie. This is like what tips my hand a little bit is, like, I feel like she's still pretty committed to DC. Absolutely. I still feel like if they brought her back for Harley Quinn, she would do it, because she's talked about how she likes Harley Quinn. However, there are no long-term plans for her. So if Marvel and DC can share nicely, sure, but there has to be a non-compete in her contract or something, or maybe she's just that big that it doesn't matter. So I guess I would be curious about that if this does come to pass.
What about Zoe Saldana? Because she would be she played Gamora, but then she was also in DC. What did she play in DC? It was something. Maybe it's not DC.
I don't know.
Somebody played two.
She was
somebody
Avatar.
split 2 roles. Yeah, Avatar. Maybe that was Avatar. I thought she played something in in DC too as well. But there was somebody who had played double roles. The last time I've seen somebody play a double role was here's the first time I thought it was illegal to play a double role. When it was was it Chris Pine? Who played Cyclops?
Oh, James
$5 haircut.
James $5 haircut. James Marsden, when he was in X-Men, they killed him. The rumor was they killed him off in X-Men because he went to Superman to play DC.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, so it's illegal to play both. Like, you can't do that at all.
You'll die. Yeah, your character will die.
I mean, technically, so Zoe Saldana, you're right, Marcus. She was in The Losers. Which is a DC property.
That's what
it wasn't connected to any universe, but it was a DC property.
Either.
And then she got Gamora years down the line, and now there's rumors she's going to join James Gunn now in the DC universe now. So, yeah.
There's only one rumor that has come out about Fantastic Four that I've given any credence to, and that's who the villain is.
And not Galactus, right?
The villain is Terrax the Tamer.
I believe that.
Who is a herald of Galactus. Because in my mind, the reason why I believe that, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. You can't do Silver Surfer because they already did it. So that makes a ton of sense because he's another herald, which would be how you would put it in there. So sold. That made a ton of sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a villain you don't know.
Antonio Banderas is Galactus. What?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's interesting.
I could get into it, I guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my head around it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like it better. I like it better. I like that better than Liam Neeson.
Yeah, for sure. Where Galactus is just saying the N-word all day.
A very particular set of
at least Antonio Banderas would be so smooth. Like, imagine a Latinx Galactus. Like, I do know you do need a good voice for Galactus. Yes. I would like Antonio Banderas maybe as Dr. Doom. Like, that would intrigue. He plays a really good villain. I want that now. The age difference between Reed but if you put Adam Driver on the screen with Antonio Banderas as Dr. Doom. Now I might be on board for that. That switches the tone of Marvel altogether. Like that's some serious acting chops.
There's something happening here. I think Marvel knows that the Fantastic Four is being watched by a lot of fans and a lot like people know this is going to be one of the corner pieces, or at least that's how people feel like it will be. And I'm wondering if they're just like flood it, just like tell everybody everything. Adam Driver's interested, Antonio Banderas is interested. Like just flood the field and
throw him off the trail.
The Margot Robbie one is such an out of left field one, and I do want to make a point here. I think Margot Robbie would crush this. I think she'd be a great Sue Storm. I would trust Marvel to. I feel like make Sue not as she was in the early comics, where it was just like, I'm Sue Storm. Here's a force field. And
you mean like, only concerned with what Reed Richards is feeling, thinking, or doing?
Exactly.
Yes. You mean she might actually have some agency in her life?
That's exactly why I thought she wouldn't do good. Because I was like,
early Fantastic Four is like Reed's like, I gotta go work in the lab, and somebody's like, well, I have a question, and she'll be like, no, don't. He's working in the lab. It's really hard for him to be so smart. Like, and you're like, what?
It's really hard for him to be so smart.
It gets better. It does get better because I feel like the Fantastic Four gets so weird. Like in the comics,
you guys, it's weird right now. I'm reading it now, and there's a run of Fantastic Four that's weird right now. It's weird.
That's why you can't bring that in right now during Kang Dynasty because it's too much shit going on.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah,
I'd be excited for Margot Robbie. Adam Driver, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know about
how do you fucking character act Reed Richards? Like, what's he gonna do? Like, strap himself to a rack and like try to stretch it out and be like, now I really get it. Like, what is he trying to do here?
I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Adam Driver's a good actor. I recently watched him in This Is Where I Leave You, and he played this like very chipper, bumbling guy who didn't know what he was doing with his life, but like very charismatic. And that's very far cry from Kylo Ren or any of the other things that he's done. So I can absolutely see him being like, I'm a mad scientist for good. I could see him doing that. So
he could be a brooding, like hear me out. Reed, this version of Reed with Adam Driver would be the Reed that we see in the Illuminati. Like he is very much so serious that he's oblivious. Like he's so focused and locked in and so not goofy, but he's down. Like he's so like here and he's like locked the fuck in.
To be honest with you, that's probably why Adam Driver and Margot Robbie wouldn't necessarily work like screen time wise, is because like Reed Richards that's in the comic books right now, that's a run that they're doing. I don't have it right next to me, but like they are very much like partners. Like they work together, which is different from Fantastic Four. It's usually Reed's lamenting because he's ignored Sue for such a long time and he's feeling very like remorseful for the choices, or it's Adam Driver and Sue is sort of like a background. So I think if we're thinking about presenting them as a team and more of I'm going to say a more modern approach comic book wise to their iteration, you need folks who are going to do this cohesively. So I'm not sure an Adam being brooding Illuminati and Margot being like, no, you're going to take me seriously too. That would either create a ton of strife on camera that would play out really, really well, or it would miss and blow up gloriously.
Oh, wait, I want to say one more thing to add to your point, because I think that that's a good perspective to have. But you know what I think when I think of Margot Robbie and Adam Driver in this role? I think more of Star Trek, like Spock and Zoe Saldana. Like Uhura. That's what I mean. Thank you. Like that's what I mean by Spock was very much like, he's not all serious. He has his moments and these joking moments where it's kind of like, imagine Zachary Quintino. Quinto Picante Sauce. Imagine Zachary Picante Sauce as like Reed Richards. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
but it's Adam Driver, and then imagine like Margot Robbie. She's very confident and sexy. Like we know that that's Margot Robbie, right? Like emphasis on the confident and sexy. So like if you know that Disney is not going to make this woman-led, the only woman in the Fantastic Four, a background story. So you got to have somebody who can bring Sue to life.
Yep.
Yeah, and I agree. Margot Robbie can do that. The other thing I want to say, I absolutely believe Adam Driver could play Mr. Fantastic, that when the Illuminati meets and they're all like, what are we going to do about Hulk? He's a menace. I 100% would believe a line of him being dead serious, being like, we send him to space. I absolutely would buy that. So maybe I just talked myself into Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic.
Soulless.
Yeah.
Like imagine a Reed that is logical and not empathetic. That is Adam Driver through and through.
For comic fans that are maybe newer to the scene, they do that. They do send the Hulk to space.
They do that
as a solution.
That's how he has a whole kid.
And Professor Xavier also signed off on this, by the way. It wasn't just Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, like
Doctor Strange, Black Panther, people you would think. Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man.
And when that motherfucker came back, boy, when Hulk came back,
he came for all of them.
I'm honestly, I am honestly surprised they didn't make World War Hulk an Avengers level movie down the line. I'm very surprised.
World War Hulk only because they an awesome movie.
They didn't have the rights. Now they'll get the rights to Hulk with Universal like in the next 2 years or so. God, which is why I think they introduced the son in She-Hulk so that they can give some time to let it breathe, and they'll do it. You about to get a shit ton of Hulks in this next Captain American movie.
Oh my gosh! Everybody and their mother's a Hulk.
Yeah.
Well, that I appreciate that. You're right, Marcus. I get tired of every single like rumor, casting rumor. Like it's just exhausting to keep up with. So I appreciate the sentiment.
Fuck 'em.
Yeah, really to the max. Gentlemen, I want to keep talking about Margot Robbie.
Me too. Shit, let's do it. Fuck the rest of this podcast. Let's get to it.
But hell yeah, a very different.
I'm down with the swirl.
I think she might be too. Gentlemen,
it's Brian's side. Brian is just looking at me like, sir.
It's the best. Sign up for the Patreon exclusively for the Roush side eye.
Sir, go ahead.
Y'all, we at CinemaCon this weekend, we got previews of many movies that are coming out.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And one of them is Margot Robbie's Barbie. directed by Greta
Hell
Gerwig.
yes.
And this is my piece of news to say, I don't care. And I need someone to tell me why I should care about Barbie, because there is nothing that they can show me that's like, yeah, sign me the fuck up. Like, so when people are like, hey, it's kind of like Enchanted, but it's like a doll. There's a part of me that's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't know if I want to see that. Like, someone help me understand.
I disagree.
So this is,
I'm also ready to take up the case.
This is you know what, Marcus, you asked for movie hot takes.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's my movie hot take.
Oh, fuck.
I don't give a fuck about Barbie. I don't care.
Wow.
Like, there's no part of me that thinks that it looks enticing or that's something I want to see. I realize that that's controversial. I'm not saying it shouldn't get made. I'm not saying that people shouldn't go out and enjoy it if it's their bag. I am saying, for me, Doug Wagner, a human being on planet Earth, not jacked and not interested.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, don't make me take your side, because I also am a fan. Here's what I'm a fan of lately. You ain't got to like everything. Everything ain't for everybody.
True.
So, like, if to that point, I say, I'm not here to convince you,
Yeah,
but
convince me. That's what I want.
I feel like I know you.
Yes.
And I feel like I know the part that
do.
would interest you and pique your interest enough to watch.
Okay. What's that part?
Brian, are you on the same page as, like, what are you thinking before I say something?
Yeah, as I've changed my handle to Barbie Lawyer, because I'm here to tell you. And I represent the idea of what I think this movie is gonna be.
Get his ass.
The Patty Roman Myers, one of our Patreon fans, says sounds like the next Patty family movie is gonna be Barbie.
It's gonna be Barbie.
Look, I haven't seen the movie. I do think it's important to note, though, it's from director Greta Gerwig.
She's awesome.
You're gonna know her from a whole lot of stuff. I mean,
oh yeah, I'll pull it up if you want to keep if you want to keep litigating this, Brian. I'll look up her history.
I mean, you're gonna know her from Lady Bird. You're gonna know her from Little Women. And she's this up and coming. She has a very unique outlook and knows how to center stories about women, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
I think her take on Barbie is going to be akin to mashing up like the vibe of the Lego movie, like the second half of the Lego movie.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have this kind of Toy Story-esque kind of wonder of like how they do that, or wow, that looks really good. I think that's what we're gonna be going for here. I think it's gonna be a larger message. At least I hope it is. These are the vibes that I'm getting. And I think it is going to be something that you like, based on just like, it's not going to just be like, hi, I'm Barbie, and we're going to go around and do Barbie things. I think we're going to see like the lead character Barbie. And I say that because like everybody else is referred to as Barbie, which gets really confusing. I'll just say Margot Robbie here. I think she's going to go on a journey here and maybe realize it's not, being a Barbie isn't one thing. Or that all of these ideas that we have of like beauty and standards are maybe different. That is my prediction. That's my sealed envelope prediction for this movie. I also know that you're not like super into musicals, and I know there are musical elements in this movie.
True.
Dua Lipa has a song in this movie, which like puts it immediately in the must-see category for me, and for Doug, that's like a must-not see. Because I know you have feelings about musicals.
It's immediately avoid. Like
she's a mermaid. I don't know if that helps you, but
that's what makes it novel. That's interesting.
I don't know. My closing argument here is it is not just the packaging. I think we're gonna go a layer deeper, and I feel like that type of parody and commentary is gonna be your thing. I could be totally wrong about this, but that's the vibe I get from it.
Yeah.
All right. Brian's Marcus? A good lawyer. I'm the bad one. Here's the thing. Okay,
please speak to my partner.
Okay,
Doug Wagner.
Yes, sir.
You like meta shit, don't you?
I mean,
Answer the question.
Yes, I like.
You like meta shit, don't you?
I like meta shit.
Right. You like movies that look like one thing but turn into the next, don't you?
I like to be surprised. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. The promotion for this movie, has it been anything surprising to you? Has it given anything away about the script? Has anything you've heard about this movie screamed pink traditional 1990s Barbie?
I mean, the only thing that I can gather from watching the movie
No,
is
no,
that
no, not what you can gather
from the trailer, from what is presented to me into the trailer, based on my interpretation, is we are going to watch. We're going to take almost like a Toy Story-esque shrink down, and as an audience, I am going to observe these folks interacting with one another in their world.
Okay. You like diversified castings?
I mean,
I'm asking questions.
I
Just
couldn't.
asking the question.
Yes, of course.
All right, and you also like castings that don't make sense. Is that correct?
I'm always a big fan of castings that don't make sense that work out.
Thank you for that.
Wow.
Douglas Wagner.
Wow. Conjecture.
We just checked every box of things that you're interested in by Barbie. If you think that Barbie movie is going to be about a blonde woman being this perfect figurine and this perfect figure, after even Barbie the company has said that's not what Barbie's about. Barbie looks like everybody. Everybody can be anybody can be a Barbie. Anybody can be a Ken. If you think Margot Robbie is going to sign up for a role where she is a ditzy blonde doll and not getting anything else from the role, when people consider that her in real life, you are absolutely wrong. If you don't think that this is a movie about a meta storytelling technique to let everybody know that this handsome ass motherfucker Ken, who's playing Ken?
I'll get it.
Thank you.
Ryan Gosling.
I
have the cast right here.
Ryan Gosling, if you think that he's not gonna be this ditzy ass Ken doll who doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, and Barbie's got to be the one to help him figure it out, and we're gonna travel around and meet a bunch of different Kens and Barbies, you are dead wrong. This is absolutely up your alley, and I think it's gonna be a sleeper.
I agree. I agree.
All right. All right. You talked me into it. What is this rated? Do we know?
I'm pretty sure it's PG-13.
I
don't think they've rated it yet.
Not that I need it to be like. I don't need like what happens if a boy picks up the Barbie? Like we don't need that movie.
No,
that's a very different movie. Yeah. All right.
I'm just
saying off it. Look, keep an open mind. And I don't think we've seen everything that this movie is going to be.
Look at this. After being expelled from Barbie Land for being a less than perfect looking doll, Barbie sets off for the human world to find true happiness. A budget of $100 million, and you think they're going to squander that on some bullshit about being a Barbie? I don't think so.
Do you think did anybody tell her that it's not a lot of help coming to the human world? It's maybe you don't want to.
I have a feeling that might be a story beat.
That's a different podcast.
I have also a feeling that might be a story beat. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the reason why. It's like I get. I don't know. Maybe
I get it though. It's okay not to. And guess what? You can watch this movie and also be like, that was a waste of my time. That's perfectly fine to say. What I don't want us to get into, and I'll be the one to say this as a solo representative of the podcast, I don't want us to feel like we have to like everything that includes diversity or women-led roles. Like there are sometimes the execution is just not done well. It's not about the casting. It's just maybe this thing wasn't executed and made for me in particular, and I'm not the audience for this. Which is fine, because we as three men at different age ranges with families is probably the part they was not thinking of Doug, Brian, and Marcus when they put together the Barbie movie.
I have to think like, and here's the thing that I will say, I think my own like personal identification plays a lot into that, is that like I grew up, it was a house with two boys. I was big into dinosaurs. My brother was into trains. Nobody was like, hey, you know what I need in the house? We're going to buy Barbies. That's just not something that like we played with because we weren't interested. Mm-hmm. That is very much a world now with Harper I've had to go into because she is into it. Like, I have to like get in there. And so it's a very different space. So I think that absolutely is a big part of it, but you're right. I mean, there are a lot of boxes that for me of this could be something I either am jacked as hell about, or that I look at and I go, I did not care for that.
Which is also okay.
Yeah. Yep. Means Brian and I just get to fight on the podcast. And
me, because I'm gonna be in there with you.
Yeah,
I mean, could be explosive.
If I watch this shit and it wasted my time, I'm gonna be the first one complaining. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's very true.
Or we're gonna get into the heights situation where I'm gonna be like,
as long as Antonio Banderas is in it, we're fine.
He's in Fantastic Four, not in the Heights.
Ah, damn.
Galactus in the Heights.
That is just Lin-Manuel Miranda just running around, dancing.
They could burn that theater to the ground. And that my fondest memory will be like, remember that time I confused?
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Remember that time I confused?
Who was it? Who was it? Was it?
I couldn't even fucking tell you who it was.
J-Lo's ex-husband.
Derek Jeter?
No. Oh, the other one.
Oh, jeez. Wait. Oh, jeez. Oh man, J-Lo, we'd love to have you on the pod.
Perfect, man. Oh god.
Okay, hang on here. Furiously googling Jennifer Lopez husband. That's where I'm at right now. Not Chris Judd. Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony.
Oh man.
Doug mistook. No, I can't even finish this. I can't even finish this.
Mark Anthony can't catch a break. He's Antonio Banderas. He's Derek Jeter.
Oh man,
Derek Jeter never got married, so that's also my bad.
Oh man, somebody call Mark Anthony. Is he okay?
Call Derek Jeter because he's hurting too, because he is not in the husband category at all.
That's true. Oh god,
it's funny that the white man Ben Affleck is the one.
Yeah, that's yes. Brian. Mark Anthony shows up on screen and Marcus goes, "You know who that is?" It's like, I sure fucking do. Antonio Banderas.
Antonio, that was the whitest I've ever seen Doug. Antonio
Banderas or Derek Jeter, depending on which other white person of this podcast you have.
Yo, that. I just noticed that both of y'all got the.
I was like out on a limb because it was like, no, he was.
Your level of confidence, Brian. I want that confidence injected into my DNA. Like
Derek Jeter. You and Doug are we're so confident and wrong. It is the funniest thing ever. We will be bringing a Hispanic representative, a Latinx representative to the podcast.
I think we kind of have to now, or otherwise we're in trouble.
My friend Nidia, she's gonna kill me. But that's fine.
Hilarious.
That's fine.
That's hilarious. Gentlemen, any other pieces of news that you all would like to chat about today?
How can I top that?
I don't think we can. I think this is a go out on a high note type of moment.
Thank you, Derek Jeter and Mark Anthony
and Antonio
Banderas joining us today.
Anyway, thank you for convincing
the white man on top again.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
All right. Thank you all for convincing me on Barbie, as do I.
You're welcome.
Gentlemen, anything that you all would like to plug for this week?
This is just the bumper the Love Nerds wants. Hey, go check out thelovenerds.com. They are not problematic, and you can find a ton of lifestyle ideas and recipes. And
from Antonio Banderas to Derek Jeter, they've got it all.
They just go check out thelovenerds.com for all of your lifestyle blog needs.
Golly, man, that is hilarious.
That's hilarious. Marcus, what do you have, sir?
Christ. Follow the mantra, never offended, always humble. My two brethren on this podcast, they got it wrong. But that's all right. We're not offended by them getting it wrong. Hey, they're gonna be humble and getting it right.
Yep.
We're gonna know who Marky Mark is. What's his name?
Mark Wahlberg? What?
What's his name?
Mark Anthony?
Mark Anthony. Good Lord.
No,
Mark
can't
Anthony.
get it either.
Mark Anthony. Maybe Mark Anthony is a forgettable person. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what's happening. But anyway,
possible.
Follow the mantra, never offended, always humble. But go ahead, buy yourself some gear. Hit the link in our bio. At the Noah 08 _ sorry. Follow the mantra _ or Marcus J. Destin on all socials. Hit the link in the bio. Get yourself something nice.
Ooh, absolutely. The only thing I have to plug for this particular podcast is this podcast. So if you enjoyed us getting Latin singers wrong, or if you just enjoy movies, tell your friends to listen to the show. But also, if you're feeling extra special and you want to sign up for the Patreon and enjoy bonus episodes that we will do immediately following this, head over to patreon.com/filmsinblackandwhite to sign up for a tier there.
Also, you got to hear it live for the people that are watching live, but you got to hear it on the pod. Patreon subscriber Roman Myers already putting out there, we got to go see Barbie, whether Doug likes it or not. So
that's
those are the
true.
Types of decisions you can influence if you sign up for our Patreon.
That's very true.
You can sign up for the Patreon right now. We'll drop a link. You sign up for the Patreon right now, the $5 tier. I think if you sign up for the $5 tier, you get to be a part of the bonus episode right now. Everybody else don't get it till like a month later.
That's very true. That's very true. Gentlemen, we have a 3-step process to success.
I want the last
Brian, what is the first step? You can have it.
Hey, folks, read a book. That would have helped me tonight because I would have read about the people that we talked about, and I would have known who we were talking about in regards to In the Heights and what Mark Anthony has done with his career, and how he's different than Derek Jeter, a baseball player. So I can't recommend reading a book enough so you don't shoot from the hip at your next social engagement and say, did you mean Antonio Banderas? And they'll say, no. And you'll say, okay, I'll read a book about Antonio Banderas.
There you go. Yep, absolutely. Our next key to success is to drink some water. Y'all, spring has sprung, and April showers doesn't just bring flowers. Drinking and staying hydrated helps your body do you right, helps you stay full, helps you make sure you're hydrated for if you're doing any type of yard work or spring cleaning. So make sure you get your drink your water, and treat yourself to some nice water every once in a while. A Voss, a Fiji, treat your body right, and your body will treat you right. So drink some water.
And as always, make sure that you wash your ass. Okay. Listen, we're at the end of the podcast. We're gonna hey, if you didn't listen to the end of the podcast, you're gonna miss this part. What if you trying to get freaky all of a sudden spontaneously and you didn't wash your ass? Like, that's embarrassing. What if she's like, you know what? Pull over right now. What if your partner is like, you know what? Pull over right now. Let's do it right now. Let's be spontaneous. You didn't even wash your ass.
You did not.
That is a bad. What if you go on a first date and the entire date goes well and they are just like, you know what? I do want to give you consent and permission tonight to ravage my body.
That's
and you
true.
didn't even wash your ass. That is embarrassing, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Okay? Wash your ass. Hop in the shower. Sometimes you need to take a whole bath. Hit the triangle.
It's true.
Armpit balls. Armpit balls. Hit the triangle. That's okay. Do what you got to do. That's what I'm saying. You're going to lick each other. Y'all going to lick each other. Taste like a car battery. Like, you're going to taste like the tip of a battery. Like, just wash your ass.
Yes, please. Please do that for you and everybody else. Wash your ass. We are going to hop over into the Patreon exclusive bonus episode, but we'll be back next week to cover Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But in the meantime and in the between time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, and we will catch y'all next week.
That's a fact.
Woo.